Hello and welcome to Chapter 5, Building Business Models from the Entrepreneurship, the Practice of Mindset, Second Edition textbook. In this chapter, we're focusing on business models, right? And so the business models, this, of course, we're talking about one of the learning objectives here from this chapter. What is a business model? When you think about it, it's different from a business plan, right? A business model describes how a new venture creates, delivers, and captures value, right? It of course, evidence is gathered from talking to people, investigating, asking questions. It's built over time by collecting evidence that you are creating works. And of course, a business model is not created in a vacuum and has value for customers. One of the things about a business model is that it's different from the business plan, because the business plan you have it's like about 30 plus pages, right? The business model is a shorter aspect. It's looking really at what value you're creating, how you're delivering this value, and what's the cost, and of course what's the revenue, right? And of course, it's just really to see if your business is scalable, if it's going to actually work, right? And it helps the entrepreneurs understand what they are doing. The wonderful thing about the business model, and we'll talk about, of course, the business model canvas, is that you're looking at the scope of, looking at these sections of each in this business model, to see whether or not the business has a viable customer segment, has valuable customer, brings a value proposition, how it's being delivered, what's the cost factors, and of course how you are, um, how are you making revenue, right? You have different types of business models, or the types of them. Innovation, right? A business model can create a whole new market. It brings disruption, right? For example, when we look at disruption, we look at MOOCs, right? The emergence of MOOCs, or massive open online courses. It disrupted higher education when students opted for free courses rather than paying tuition at college universities. So the MOOCs, right, the open online courses or textbooks or content, really was a disruptor in the college textbook industry, or the textbook industry, because now textbooks have really disrupted their system in the sense of providing subscription-based service. Instead of students having to purchase one textbook at a time, now it offers a subscription-based. They won't say it, but in a sense, MOOCs disrupted that environment, that model. And of course, now students can learn for free, when before you would have to pay a massive amount of money or be accepted into university to even get access to that content. Differentiation, right? Fulfilling an unmet needs of customers using an existing product or service, right? So an imitation, finally, the imitation business model should really be avoided. Don't use imitation. Basically, you're just copying someone else and putting a different name on it. You'll get in big trouble. So, focus on innovation, disruption, and differentiation, right? Those three things, right? You really do have a way of making an impact in business. I would say innovation, though. Um, when you're creating a whole new market, if you don't have millions or billions of dollars behind you backing you up, I would avoid the innovation. When you're looking at it, you creating a whole new market, right? Like Tesla, for example, created a new market for electrical vehicles. Right? Again, if you have the financial backing to get into that, then that's fine. But if you don't, perhaps disruption and differentiation are in your realm, because you can disrupt the markets by creating something that's going to make a difference in the market, or differentiating yourself, right? Doing something different than what's currently being done. You have four interlocking parts of a business model, right? So we have different phases of looking at them: the offering, the customers, the infrastructure, and the financial viability, right? So what's your offer, right? Who is your customer base? What's your infrastructure? How is your business being built? And is it financial viable, right? Is this feasible, right? For example, if you came up to me and you said, I want to start a electrical vehicle company, I'd be like, well, do you have the finances to even start this thing, right? Innovation and advantage over the competition all must coexist, right? None can be ignored. So of course you have innovation and advantage over the competition. Competitive advantage can come from all areas of the business, right? It doesn't always come from the product or service you're offering, but it can come from areas of the business as well. So what's your competitive advantage? And one of the things, of course, you don't want to compete on price because you always lose out on that perspective. Uh, the offering, right, identifies what you're offering to a particular customer segment. So what's your offering? What do you offer the clientele or the customer? What's your product or your business are you offering? Right? What's the value? How much your product or service is worth to the customers? If you're having trouble understanding this, just think about the companies that you follow or you purchase from. Like, what's the value that the companies that you purchase from brings to your life? Right? Is it a satisfaction? Is it solving an issue, a problem, a pain that you have in life? Again, just think about what value they help solve for you. And then think about how your startup, your business is going to bring that value to a particular client or clients or customers. The customers, right? Individuals or business willing to pay for your offering. So again, who are your customers? Who is your customer base? Brian Bickett's, the franchise owner of Great Clips Hair Salons, created a virtual online experience and enabled its customers to check in online and explore wait times. This approach attracted thousands of young tech-savvy customers who are more accustomed to booking appointments online. So again, who are your individuals or businesses? The reason there's two, right? Because you could be a business to B2C or business to consumer company, or B2B, a business to business company, right? As a B2B, you sell directly to businesses. As a B2C, business to customers, right? You sell directly to customers. Infrastructure, what's your infrastructure like? You know, how are you building this, right? Includes the people, the technology, the products, the suppliers, the facilities, right? Um, like for example, your infrastructure can basically be, an office setting and a computer. That's what most sometimes people need. Or do you need a whole warehouse facility to have the equipment to do what you need to do? So think about what infrastructure you need to do. Financial viability, right? That's another important aspect. Defines the revenue and cost structures a business needs to meet its operating expenses, right? Um, how much money do you need to start? How much money do you then, of course, do you need to break even? So, is this financial viable? The customer value proposition, right? It is the value driver for the customer. So the key word in this customer value proposition is customer, right? Which the focus should always be on the value generated for the customer and how this value is then captured by business in the form of profit. Right, so the three qualities of an effective CVP uh, needs to have the three qualities: better value in the competition, measurable monetary terms, right? You must be able to prove that your customer value proposition is better value than offerings in the other markets, and it's sustainable, right? So you need to be able to sustain it for long periods of time. Design thinking is a collaborative effort. It's a business from the customer's viewpoint. So when you're thinking about it, when you're designing a product or service, think about it from the customer's perspective, how easy it is to use. If you're creating a website for your business, how easy is it to navigate the website? Successful PV, understanding what the customer wants. All right, businesses survive because they successfully answer these three questions. It's about the big benefit, credibility in the eyes of the customers, and of course, to have a uniqueness, right? So, in order to have a successful customer value proposition, you need to have what's the benefit? What's the huge benefit of purchasing from your business, right? The credibility, how are you credible, and of course, uniqueness. The four problems experienced by customers, um, you know, lack of time, lack of money. Of course, how are you, customers face problems when it comes to getting the job done. So of course, lack of time, money, skills, and lack of access, right? And so how are you going to solve that for them? So look at these pain points, um, and how can you solve it for them, right? Um, Different types of customer value, CVPs, and customer segments, convincing people about a great product, problems with marketing. Uh, Many entrepreneurs have the idea in mind, but they are not clear on the marketing or the execution. One of the things that makes successful entrepreneurs is that they're able to execute on the idea. Lots of folks have the idea, but they're not able to execute, and execution is a critical point in the business, in the business model, in the startup, in the business, in order to be successful. And of course, looking at the all benefits approach to the customer, to the CVP, involves identifying and promoting all the benefits of your product or service to target customers with little regard to the competition. And of course, being overly product focused, you are promoting features and benefits that customers may not even need. The point of difference approach produces a stronger CVP than all benefits because it focuses on the product or service relative to the competition and recognizes your product is unique and different from others in the market. And of course, the last part stems from the resonating focus approach, is the gold standard. Provide a laundry list of pursued benefits to its customers. So of course, creating a product or service that the customer would be willing to buy, understanding the motiveness, desires, and unmet needs of your customers, you're able to create a product or service that you'll be willing to buy. The different types, continuing on, types of customer segments, there are different types, and one of the things that um, you should focus on is really focus on a niche market. So I'm just going to define these, but I wouldn't necessarily really focus on the mass market, uh, because a startup may not have the necessary funds to have a mass market. Just think about Facebook, for example. Facebook first started targeting college students, right? You needed a college email to have a Facebook account. That's how it started, right? You needed a college email. It got bigger and bigger than expected, and it started to open into people outside of college. Now it's to the mass market. So you may start off with a segmented market or a niche market first, to see how that goes. And of course, if you see more opportunity, then you open up to mass market. But you wouldn't want to start with the mass market at first, right? So mass market is many customers, right? So of course, the masses. Niche market is customer specific needs, right? It's a smaller market of individuals. Segmented market, it's breaking customer segment to groups, uh, according to the different needs and problems, right? So a bank might provide different service to its wealthier clients than they would provide their average income, right? So for example, banks, um, for example, Chase Bank, right? They have services for the average person, right? The middle of the road person, who middle income individual. They have their checking account, their savings account, and of course those who are wealthier individuals who meet the financial requirements have the private bank, right, for them, and Chase, right? They've segmented the market from individuals who have higher income to those who have middle income, and they provide different services for them, different products for them. Types of customer, again, different, the diversified market, of course, offers a variety of services to two or more customer segments, right? Amazon is a good example, that diversified from its retail business, selling books and other tangible products, to sell, from selling books to selling cloud computing services, online storage space, and online server usage. Multi-sided markets, right? Two or more customer segments. two or more customers that are linked but are independent of each other, right? A free newspaper caters to its readership customer base by providing newsworthy content, but of course also needs to prove advertisers with a large readership. So of course, the multi-site markets, right? You have your readership, and then of course you have your advertising if you're a newspaper company. I would kind of in the diversified market, I would avoid if you're doing a startup. I would avoid focusing on the diversified market until you've reached the pinnacle point. For example, Amazon's focused on selling books online. Now it's starting to offer cloud computing services after 20, 30 some years of high revenue. So focus on niche market or segmented market first. The business model, knowing how a customer tends to create, capture, and deliver value. The four parts of the business model canvas, right? What the offering constitutes, of course, what the customers relate to, what the infrastructure includes, and what financial viability means. So the business model canvas, so the business model was created in 2008 and was introduced. Of course, the business model divides into four parts, as I just mentioned, right? And so let's look at the business model, right? Exploring the 9 components. So it's 9 components. You start from the top right corner, move on to the left-hand side, and then go down from there all the way to the bottom 2 sections, right? So exploring the 9 components, you're looking at the first kind of segment, right? The customer value proposition. What value do you deliver? Customer segment, who are your most important customers, the channels, what are the ways in which you reach your customers, and the customer relationships, how do you establish and maintain a relationship with your customers, right? Exploring the other components as well, the key activities, what are the most important activities that the company participates to get the job done. So are you producing food? Are you producing t-shirts, right? Key resources, how much your resource you need if your company has 1,000 customers, right? Key partners, who are your key partners to help you? Who are your network of suppliers or buyers? What's your revenue streams? Like how are you generating money? Cost structure, what are the most important costs inherent in the business model? Like what's expense? Like you have to pay for equipment, rent space. What is your cost structure? And so that is, in a nutshell, the 9 components of the business model canvas. There are other great resources online for the business model canvas. There is a business model canvas presentation in this YouTube channel, which I highly recommend you explore. Thank you for this. This was chapter 5, business model from the Entrepreneurship Practice and Mindset 2nd edition textbook. Thank you.